Alright, here's a somewhat bizarre movie, I might add. It's a sequel, but the full title of this movie is Tarzan 2: The Legend Begins. It was a 2005 direct sequel to the original Tarzan movie, but this time it's basically a prequel to Tarzan, the first movie. Yeah, the 1999 one. This time it focuses on kid Tarzan when he was a little kid. And this one is somewhat kind of weird. But based upon the reception ratings, it has mixed reviews from critics, meaning that some people like it, some people hate it. They praised it for its good animation, but criticized it for being so needless. But the good thing about this movie was that it won the DVD-X award for Best Original Score in a DVD premiere movie in 2006, which was a year after this movie was released. Alrighty, I guess we should get to the plot, right? Well, it basically revolves around Kid Tarzan, played by Harrison Chad, and he's worried that a fable monster known as the Zugor, we'll get to him in a little bit, that will attempt to capture him someday. And even if he was real, I bet the Zugor would even catch Tarzan no matter how fast he is, even if he had the fastest reflexes, to my opinion. Well, basically, Tarzan is disappointed that he can't run as quickly as his other apes in his family can, and he attempts to prove himself keep resulting in chaos. He attempts to prove himself keep resulting in chaos. I was messing up a little bit right there, but I just don't get it. It's just so confusing. That's why I messed up on that part. But the thing is, what I don't get is that Tarzan is a human, but his mother is an ape, and her name is Carla, played by Glenn Close. And I don't get it. How does an ape give birth to a human? You know what? And then later, the apes and Tarzan both migrate or something like that, and then some tree wood was about to fall from a waterfall, and they all had to run. But look, Tarzan's hanging on for dear life, and then Carla tries to rescue him, but he falls down, but then Tarzan holds on to a rope. And then Carla thinks that Tarzan was died, and the other apes feel that Tarzan has reached a fitting end. Tarzan believes that it's best for everyone involved if he runs away. That's like saying that Tarzan is a troublemaker and that he belongs in the nut house. And then later, alone in the jungle, he gets pursued by a saber-toothed tiger and gets trapped into some weird place called the Dark Mountain, which basically looks like some kind of infernal H-hole that Satan would make or something. So he encounters two spoiled and hawking gorilla brothers, Udo and Kago. Udo is voiced by Brad Garrett and Kago is voiced by Ron Perlman. And their controlling, overprotective mama, Gonda, voiced by Estelle Harris.
I'm very unhappy!
But Udo and Kago fear the Zugor just as much as Tarzan does. And when the booming call of the monster echoes through the valley, Tarzan is able to escape from them, and then he encounters a crouchy old gorilla who at first keeps the boy distant, but Tarzan discovers that his old gorilla actually is the Zugor. So basically, he's the Zugor. He's just retired. So he uses some hole that makes him sound like that he is the real Zugor. Well, he is the real Zugor, but he uses hollow trees as megaphones to amplify his voice and pretend to be a monster to scare other jungle creatures away from his territory and food.
Zugor? I don't believe it.
Tarzan uses this discovery to force Zugor into letting the boys stay with him. Thanks to Tarzan's cheerfulness and helpfulness, Zugor begins to warm to him as Tarzan continues to try to figure out who he is. That's right, Tarzan doesn't even know who the freak he is, and that is some supreme bullcrap. Here's the side characters, which I should have talked about earlier on in this review. Tarzan's two best friends, Turt and Tantor, played by Brandon Gray and Harrison Fenn. They come to look for Tarzan after he ran away, but Tarzan doesn't want to return home to them. It is only when Carla arrives and encounters trouble with Gonda, Udo, and Kago that Tarzan finally realizes that he's supposed to be a Tarzan with his own special tricks that no one else in the jungle can do. Turk and Tantor eventually rescue Tarzan and become best friends once again. Tarzan tells Carla that she was right before, and then that he is part of his family. The film ends when Carla gives Tarzan a hug and tells him she is proud to have him for rescuing her from Udo and Kago. After which Mama Gonda punishes them for destroying Zugor's treehouse, and Turk and Tantor are finally reunited with Tarzan. I mean, the bottom line is, Tarzan 2 isn't a perfect movie. The minor thing that I don't like is that Tarzan is a kid and doesn't even find out who he is, and the other weird thing is that his mother is an ape. That's one thing that I really don't understand. It's just that I think that Tarzan 2 is a little bit different aside from the first movie. I don't get the whole plot of this whole movie. The only thing that I can describe this movie for is for being extremely weird, but at least there's a bit of comedic relief inside the film, which is also the gist of it. At least it still holds up into this day. Maybe a bad movie. Again, it has mixed reviews, but let me tell you what, it's still an entertaining movie either way. There's a bit of romance, of course, that gets up into it. First you see two couples fighting, and then they later come together as one. So, it's alright. It's an alright movie. It's not as good as the first movie, but it's alright. I like it in its own way. I never seen the first one, but I heard many good things about it. So, maybe I'll consider checking out that movie, or at least read the plot about it if I can't own it on DVD or see it on TV in the future. But at least I've seen Tarzan 2 a lot lately. But overall, it's not as good as the first movie, but it's an alright sequel, regardless of the reception ratings on Rotten Tomatoes or any other site which was reviewed, or any of the awards that it received. Whether it got worse sequels, regardless, Tarzan 2 is a good movie. It's not great, it's not perfect, it's not a masterpiece. It's just a good movie that's not as good as the first. But if you haven't seen Tarzan 2, and if you still think it sucks, just give it a second watch. You're probably gonna like it.